Hi there. Welcome to our production of The Earth is Speaking. My name is Carol Campbell, and I'll be playing the narrator, Busy Woman, the goddess Selene, and Cora Tess.
My name is Sandhya. I will be playing the goddess Kali, Kalenda, and the glacier.
My name is Linda. I will be playing Tiamat, Rita, Storm, and River.
My name is Taylor Valencia. I will be playing Mami Wata, Cro-Magnon Girl, and Rose.
My name is Rose, and I will be playing Kuan Yin, Siduri, the Busy Woman, and the Seed.
Scene 1. What did the busy man say?
I have gone from land to sea, a goddess in disguise, a visitor looking for hospitality. But this is what I find.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I have so many things to do. I don't have time for you. I have to make money and then sell the money and then make more money and get more money. I have to save the money to make more money, to get a car, travel far, then get another car and drive it here and there, get another car, a boat and a yacht, a plane and a bus, I guess, a flying tricycle. What's the fuss? I have to get more, much more. It's never enough. It's never too much. I want this, I want that, I want the other. I step over my neighbor. Over you, over my brother. Don't tell me what to do. I know it all, and fuck you. Busy man exits.
It is folly. What you want, Kali?
All of the ages of humans have waxed and waned before.
Those were commandments made by male gods.
Destruction is part of creation.
Must you be so full of opposites?
I know.
Destruction versus creation.
I know you tend to think in those yin-yang, either-or terms. Kuan Yin, life is so much more complex.
You cannot make this decision on your own. There is the pact.
Let us gather the council.
Scene 2, the hypogeum. Kali, Kuan Yin, Tiamat, Mama Wata enter. Each sit on ornate thrones in a subterranean temple in Malta. They sip from their ornate cups, drinking their libations.
In every age of human, there has been a contract between mortals and gods.
The rainbow.
Yes, among other things, Mami Wata.
Jupiter called a council of gods.
And they all swore by the crystal streams of the Styx. It was only by the grace of goddess Themis that humanity continued.
Kali, what happened to the busy man?
That one? The one with the hat I told you about. I slit his throat. His family is free of him. I can almost smell the gratitude.
What does gratitude smell like?
It smells like sandalwood.
Ending men will only bring us sadness.
It's not only the men, Mother Tiamat, but look, her too.
Busy woman enters.
Gotta put my makeup on. Gotta do my hair. Gotta put my jewelry on. I gotta not put makeup, jewelry, do my hair to not be like the other women who put makeup on and do their hair and jewelry. But instead, I gotta buy orange juice, asparagus, toilet paper, avocados, marmalade, toothpicks, extra virgin olive oil, laundry detergent, write an article, send a million email messages. I gotta do the laundry. I gotta feed the baby, gotta get dressed, put my red pumps on, gotta go to the meeting, gotta write an email, gotta meet the girls. I gotta fuck my husband, gotta fuck my boss, I gotta buy a new car, a house, a motorboat, a new pair of shoes, a cleaning lady. I gotta feed the baby. I don't have time for the baby. I didn't need a baby. I'm too busy for the baby. I don't have time for the baby. I didn't need a baby. I'm too busy for the baby, and the baby makes me even busier than I already am. But someone told me you must have a baby. You are nothing without a baby. Multiply. proliferate the species, fill the planet with babies who grow into all-consuming monsters. That's what somebody told me in a grocery store. Make a baby. You'll be fulfilled, and then he'll grow up, and the baby will make another baby to eat avocados and orange juice and toilet paper. I gotta go put my makeup on. I don't have time for you, so fuck you too.
Busy woman exits. The rain begins to fall. It falls harder and harder.
Listen, the rain.
The rain heals.
Most of the time. Tiamat, stop!
We must decide together as a group.
We aren't all here.
We have a quorum.
What of the animals, the dolphins, the wolf? What will become of them?
What will become of the people of Earth?
What makes you believe humanity's worth our efforts at all? I don't see any signs of change or improvement. On the contrary, I say we obliterate them and start an entirely new species. If fire isn't your thing, maybe a flood is. Our Lady of the Deep Salt Water, Tiamat, just showed you how we could do this.
What brought this on, Kali? We can't just let hundreds of thousands of years working on humans go up in smoke. I'd like to give them another chance, but if they fuck up this time, we follow Sister Kali's course of action and scorch it all into nothingness.
Maybe we went wrong somewhere in their creation, and they've been conditioned to this self-destruction from the very beginning.
No, nothing went wrong with their creation. They were perfect in the beginning. Just that we gave them free will and they haven't always used it to their best interest. We aren't perfect either, are we?
Should have relied on predestination.
I think of my grandchildren, Marduk and the others, who were given weapons to use in fear, not as tools to farm and craft. The sad state of the world arose as the powers of the goddess were dissolved.
Defeated. Even in the spaces where I reign, patriarchy designates caste, denies rights.
You forget all the good and beautiful things. The arts, the music, the languages. I see acts of goodness and self-sacrifice every day. It's just that many of them pass unnoticed. The evil acts tend to make more noise than the good ones. Sort of like my soft power passes as weakness to many.
Point taken, Kuan Yin.
I don't think we should keep arguing this way, daughters. We're getting nowhere. We can't undo the past. All we have is now. We made a decision at the last meeting to keep trying.
Agreed. Even if they are all eventually doomed to perdition in the larger movement of the universe, we can't give up until we and they have tried everything.
We do not abandon the most vulnerable, not just because they are vulnerable, but because that is where the real power ultimately has to come from.
In vulnerability, we find humanity.
Enter Celine. Wait up, bitches! What the fuck? I didn't get an invitation for this meeting. Why do you always exclude me? You don't think I can offer valuable insights for the planning of the future of the planet? You know, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't know day from night, from land from sea, and your own asses from your pretty little heads.
You Western gods always think you can bend the whole wide world to your desires, while appropriating our cultures, our rituals, our stories, our fashions.
Most honorable goddesses of all the four corners of the world, let us not indulge in strife and conflict amongst ourselves. It's what the patriarchy always wants.
You said it, Kuan Yin. It's the strong part of patriarchy, divide and conquer. Right now, we need to unite across ethnic and nationalist lines.
Nobody is excluding you, Celine. You got the news for this meeting through all the official channels, wind, bird, clouds. Not to mention it was written in the sky only the other day in capital letters. Emergency meeting to finish the earth or not. Why do you need special invitations when the signs were apparent? We were here.
Yeah, well, it's exactly what this meeting is all about. And by the way, I love your disheveled look today. Everything looks good on you, Celine.
I will be glad to share what we have talked about to catch you up, Sister Moon.
You do that while I prepare another one of those fire drinks.
It's otherworldly. Mother Tiamat, where did you learn this? Or did you create it?
Oh, what was her name? Siduri. She created this drink. She's also the goddess who gave the first fermented beverage to womankind. I haven't thought about her in a long time.
She, like many other goddesses, was written out of the record.
Indeed, she's mostly remembered now for giving advice about immortality to Gilgamesh.
Much appreciated, sisters. It is otherworldly.
Yep. No human could have invented this.
So, we discussed giving humankind another chance to redeem themselves and thought it would be good to start by observing a little corner of the world. A group of women in a tiny town in the state of Virginia of those United States of America. They're an interesting group, courageous and kind even though they've traveled through the waters of hell and back.
See, that's exactly as I thought. You made a whole bunch of decisions without consulting me first, and then you expect to be all sweetness.
Why this country again, when there are so many out there that need our help more than they do, and where they worship us a lot more? A second ago, you were criticizing Westerners. Why not South America? Why not the territories guarded by our African sisters?
Amiwata has a point. Why always North America? They think they are the center of the universe. Exhaust the world's resources, tell everybody how they should run their rounds, countries, and pollute our Mother Earth more than any other Western countries.
Precisely because of that. Remember, we chose to observe a tiny oasis of suffering and courage on this arrogant land, not any other part of it. The most downtrodden and yet those with the most potential to bring change, to offer an example.
You see, precisely because as you so eloquently phrased it, Celine, the leaders of this formidable country have attained such heights of arrogance in believing they are the rulers of the world, the best, the biggest, the richest, the most of everyone, while so many of their people are suffering in dire poverty, some living in the streets of their cities, others not having even clean water to drink, and the people of African lineage being massacred in the streets, precisely because of this enormous contradiction between their image of themselves and their realities. We thought it would be a good place to start.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Often I gaze upon their magnificent mountains and their oceans and their fields and their mega cities. I see so much suffering and despair and fear. It's like it's the new big hub for the world's downtrodden, like you said. And emancipated and democratic that they think they are, their women hardly occupy positions of power and are subject to unspeakable brutalities. And since you mentioned the drinking water thing, I propose we also take a look at the waters of the world. It's all interconnected, For instance, do the women in this center, you mentioned, do they even have clean drinking water?
All in its own time, Sister Moonbeams. It's all part of our research and observation. And
yes, well, as controller of the tides, I will say this. The sea waters are rising, the tides are higher and more irregular than ever before. The electromagnetic fields on the ocean floors are totally out of whack, and they send all sorts of abnormal signals. It makes me dizzy and seasick, It's like getting electric shock therapy, but not in a good way. It's like all the shit in the water. I tell you, it's making humans totally out of whack right now.
That may be, Celine, but it's only part of the picture. It's a social inequality at the bottom of it all. There are those who waste precious drinkable waters on sprinkling their useless lawns, and there are those who don't even have access to clean drinking water. I see my people struggling and having to walk down those ugly highways to get to a water source, and when they do, it's tainted and brown. Those who drink clean water and live in abundance do more harm than those who drink the tainted water. See for yourself.
The river enters.
I carry corpses and carcasses. I carry the bodies of fugitives who tried to cross me. I carry more humans than I carry healthy fishes. I want to go back to my point of origins and start over. I want to be born again from a tiny stream and a faraway mountain. I've lost my memory of travels through green pastures and snow-capped mountains. Now people cross me dangerously, not caring if they live or die. I am suffocating from the many corpses I have to swallow in a day, and my fishes are getting poisoned from the poison in the humans. One day a little girl crossed me and begged me to cross her over and not let her die. She is the only one who talked to me and asked me for something concrete. All the others take me for granted. My waters, my fishes, my algae, my rocks, my plankton, my shells. She didn't know how to swim, but I got her safely to the other shore. There she was shot by a border patrol. I wish I had drowned her. That's why I want to go back to the stream I started from, where I was born of the crevices of a rock in a giant mountain made of lime and granite and calcareous rocks.
The river exits.
Humans are also resourceful. Those who are forced to drink the tainted water are helped by their neighbor or organize and try to change the way things are. That's why we have to help them. Humankind will change when the most vulnerable have more power over their own desires.
You are such a clever talker, Kuan Yin. You've convinced me. I could listen to you talk for hours. I tell you what, I've got it. Let's make a combined party, like a work party meeting thing. I'll write it in the sky in big letters tonight. I'll use my special moon drops to shine it across the universe. Visit goddesses of the earth's middle sphere, all female deities summoned. Yeah.
No men?
No, man. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Let's all get dressed up in our most glorious attires, right? The women of the earth are tired and depressed by all the abuses they've been suffering for many millennia, right? Let's lift their spirits with a grand working party.
You know, I was never much into dressing up and partying. But I think this time I feel like going along with Moon's suggestion. Maybe dressing up and wearing some of that jewelry will improve the dark mood I've been in lately.
Mm-hmm. I find that a little glamour once a month really counteracts those fallow periods, if you know what I mean.
That's the attitude, Kali. I haven't heard you speak in such a lighthearted way since the last flood.
All right, sisters, I have a surprise for you. Guess what? I got the keys to a special closet of silver and gold from my mother, the great Thea. She said we can pick any dress and any jewelry we wish for this special occasion of visiting the humans and the earth stuff.
Ah, how exciting.
Be good. Could be good.
I think the glacier is a good place to start.
The glacier enters.
Give me back my body. Give me back my giant figure. I was once a magnificent creature of glowing, crackling, sparkling matter that rose to the moon. I was unpassable, an indomitable wall of shiny coldness that sent its coolness over the entire earth. The skies reflected themselves in my crystal icy body. The air particles around me glowed and quivered. They sang tiny lullabies to the ice. Ships crashed against me. When my own body weight became overwhelming for my own self, I cracked into many jagged pieces that floated into the ocean. There were floating houses for walruses and penguins and polar bears. And now look at what you've done with your poisoned gases and your burning fuels. I'm only a ghost of what I once was, an ice skeleton thinning into nothingness. And when I'm done, so will you be swallowed in the swelling waters that I have become. At least I change from one shape to another, and my essence remains the same. I will always be water. What will you be? What will you be? Food for the fishes, rotting at the bottom of the ocean you filled with your trash? I am the glacier.
Glacier exits.
I have revived the spirit of the woman from 40,000 years past. Listen to her wisdom.
Cro-Magnon, 17-year-old, enters.
What have you done to my world? I see it and I don't believe it. I see it and I want to tear out every single one of my teeth with my own hands. You don't die of tooth infections like I did anymore 20,000 years ago. You have shiny teeth and beautiful smiles to smile upon a world in ruin. You grind and chew every plant and every creature between your white, smiley teeth and spit it all onto the bleeding belly of my mother. You don't even use all that you take out from her belly. The fish of the sea rot between your shiny teeth. Beasts of the land toss and rot between your white teeth and shiny smiles. The fruit and the greens of the earth rot between your shiny white teeth, and still you don't have enough. Still you want more. You would chew the moon and the stars and let them rot between your shiny white teeth that you brush every day with nice smelling paste. Would you give up your fragrant paste and the cars and the clothes and the monster homes and the fancy foods you stole from every part of the body of our Mother Earth? Would you give up all that for the sake of our mother? To let her restore her breathing, her waters, her cycles? In the caves where I lived with my parents, we painted the walls at the light of the flame. It was peaceful. We slept on the animal skins in the womb of the earth. Sometimes I painted in the morning. It didn't matter. Night and day were the same in the cave. What have you achieved in your monster homes that we didn't have? You devour everything in sight and spit out the cud over every breathing piece of land. There isn't one single bit of land that hasn't been used up, turned over, excavated, vomited upon with oodles of plastics and noxious gases, churned and burned in your endless greed and will of destruction. I'm coming back to show you how to care for your mother that birthed and fed you for 1,000,000 years. I'm coming back toothless and with no smile.
Cro-Magnon girl exits.
Let's go back to the hypogeum.
There's more. Listen to what the rose said.
The rose enters.
A rose is a rose is a rose, by any other name, whatever. They put me in every poetry and on china plates and draperies and valances. They replicated me in millions of species to suck the water out of the earth's streams with irrigation machines. They grow me, then they cut me for all the holiday industries, because the women of the earth need to be flattered and bejeweled, because the hallways of hospitals and government buildings need to be bedecked in my many-colored brothers and sisters. They sell us at every street corner, at every corner store, then throw us into the bins of garbage to add to the landfills, to put roses on top of the plastics, on top of the aluminum, on top of the styrofoam, to cover the stench, to hide the stench, to mask the stench. But the stench is stronger than our fragrances, and we die. withered on top of the billions of piles of garbage, the refuse of the planet. They squeeze the juices out of our luscious petals to make perfumes for the women who go to work, who go to hair salons, who go to their lovers. So their pussies smell like the juices of our petals, which is our blood, like their blood is their blood. What if we squeeze the blood out of their veins to make perfumes and mattresses and stuffed animals and belly rings? In the rainbow of the beginning of the world, there was the original rose, like the original egg in perfect roundness and rainbowness. You cracked it all. You mashed it up for the perfumes, for the birthday cards, for the Valentine gifts. Then you put us on a pile of trash after throwing us in a crystal vase for 3 days. But the seeds are there. In the piles of trash and the truckloads of paper plates and plastic bottles, the seeds are stronger than the piles of trash. They can rise out of anything, come alive out of the fire, the ashes, the flooding. A lonely rose coming out of the water, rising out of the water. A different kind of rose for a new beginning, after the end, after the beginning, after the end. Growing lonely and petulant with heavy petals like a tree rose rising to the sky to meet the original rose. Growing into the earth, digging deep to meet the original rose. In the darkness of the caves and the blinding lightness of the skies, in the darkness, a rose.
Exit Rose. Scene 3, humans having coffee. Enter Kuan Yin, Mami Wata, Cora Tess, Kalinda, and Rita.
I will stay and listen to the concerns of the humans who have prayed to me in the past. I hear their pain. Listen to these women. These 3 have met at a shelter. Hear their strife.
I will stay with you.
You know, I've never told anyone what I'm about to tell you. Until a few years ago, I didn't think it was worth telling. People have it so much worse than I do. I have teenage girls in the house now, though, and a while ago I sort of had a nervous breakdown, and I had all these memories come up, and I see what happened to me in a whole new light, And it was like Me Too happened, and I mean, people only listen to women's stories when lots of them tell their story, right? Look at how many women had to go on record, about all those famous guys like Cosby and Weinstein. And for like the first time in my freaking life, I thought, wait a minute, that wasn't right. That wasn't normal. So, okay. At 14, I ran away from home, right? I went to Vermont with my best friend. Let's call her Jamie. And both our parents were pretty checked out. Mine had divorced a year ago, and Jamie's parents, well, she had lots of brothers and sisters. And her bedroom was like in the middle of a hall, and her walls were like made of stacks of newspapers and books. It formed like this little maze to get to the center of the room that was her bedroom. And we used to hang out there like all the time. But then we stole a car, and it was Jamie's parents' old beat up Maverick, and the heat didn't work, and the car shuddered when you got to a certain speed, and we only brought $15 with us. And we learned the hard way that our trip had these tolls. So we only had a couple bucks left when we found ourselves at a diner in Albany, New York. And we were sitting there, and this really nice gentleman, he buys us these fries and a Coke, right? And he's probably about 35 or 40 years old. And of course, to me back then, he looked pretty ancient. And after sitting with us for a couple of hours in the diner, he offered to let us sit in his car, his nice warm car. And it was getting really late. It was October. Here we were in upstate New York, and we were broke. So we said, okay. And the car was warm. It was this 4-door sedan. And he and I sat in the front seat, and my friend Jamie sat in the back seat. And by 3 a.m., Jamie had fallen asleep, right? And so the gentleman, he began to tell me about his soon ex-wife, who kept calling him a cocksucker. And he kept saying this word over and over again. I'm a cocksucker. I'm a cocksucker. And then he placed his hand on my knee. And then he moved his hand up my leg, and then he took my hand and put it on his leg, and he kind of put it on his crotch. And I just remember feeling this pulsing feeling in my hand, and even though I wasn't looking. And what I remember after that was that Jamie started crying in the back seat, you know. The kindly gentleman moved away from me kind of quickly, and he kept his hands to himself. And we sat there and we listened for the next few minutes to what appeared to be Jamie having a nightmare in the back seat of the car. Like, she was crying out and moaning. And it's been 40 years since that happened. And I reached out to Jamie last year. We'd fallen out of touch as, you know, we each got married, moved away, had kids, all that sort of thing. And we never talked about that night. We never even talked about running away, which ended, you know, pretty anticlimactically, luckily. Our parents came to get us as soon as we got to Vermont. And I asked Jamie, when I called her, and I said, do you remember what happened that night? Was that you helping me? And she answered, yeah, that was me. And it worked too, didn't it?
That is an act of kindness.
It doesn't count. It happened 40 years ago.
I am not from here or there. I'm not from anywhere. I am from the country of dark forests like the night. I am from a place with dark waters and the dark sea, far away in the old continent, from a place of darkness, but also from a place of beginnings and mother energies. I never had a home. My people never had a home. I was married at 12 to my father's brother for the dowry. He raped me and beat me every night. I ran away to the forest. I ran across the train tracks. I ran to the sea. I hid in the luggage of a rich man. He was so rich that his luggage was like a small house. I made it to America and lived in the streets. A white man sold me to another white man for sex, and another and another. I stole a woman's purse just so I can be put in jail and get off the streets. Because I was a minor and a foreigner, the judge sent me here. For once it paid to be a foreigner. It makes me laugh. Here's better than jail in the streets and the camps and the shacks. I like the shelter. We have running water and 3 meals a day. Shall we play with the stones some more?
Oh yeah, here, Kalinda.
They tell you the future, and if you don't like it, they find you another future. It's simple like that. My game is called the future game.
Hey, Rita, you know, you're so talented with your stones. It's like magic. This, I don't know what you call it. You must have learned it from your ancestors. You know, in my culture back home in North Africa, the grandmothers have the same gift, and sometimes they teach it to their daughters and granddaughters. I had to run away, though, before I had a chance to learn anything. They chased women and locked them up during the Civil War. My mother was raped and killed because she didn't want to give up her medical profession and cover up. And women like me were raped and killed like worthless booty. They called it re-education rape. My grandmother hid me in her attic for months. But one day she came and told me, go, run, get as far away from here as you can and never come back. I crossed the Mediterranean with a group of other women like me in a small dinghy. And then a terrible storm started. We went through a tunnel of water that sucked us in and spewed us at the other end. It only lasted a couple of hours, minutes, maybe. But the tunnel of water that sucked us in, it felt like a century. I held on to a young girl next to me and didn't let go of her. In spite of the violence of that watery chaos, she reminded me of my son, frail yet taut and strong, but in those savage waves we were nothing. I don't remember praying, but I had a vision of such beauty during those minutes that I thought I had died and reached a beautiful place on the other side. Finally, my troubles were over. Then our dinghy came to the surface again, and only 5 of us were gone. One was the mother of the girl I held on to. We were the only 2 left, the girl and I.
Did you save that little girl?
Well, she saved me. I raised her as my own. She's 25 years old now, expecting a daughter next May.
Scene 4, the Hypogeum. Goddesses are back on their thrones, drinking from their cups.
How is this not promising? To witness these 3 women's experiences.
Because we aren't addressing the evil that was invented 4,000 years ago. I like these stories by humans, but does it really show who they are?
Yes, patriarchy wins when women are pitted against each other, or any group is pitted against each other. There is no proof that patriarchy or any demonic force has shown itself to be redeemed or dissolved. Put these women together in a factory. Sooner or later, they will rat out each other if they need to keep their jobs.
The first tenet of goddess culture, unity across difference.
I see flickers of hope. I really like that human Rita. That girl knows how to read the human and cosmic energies. She knows my cycles better than I know them myself. And I tend to get a little absent-minded sometimes. A lot to keep track of,
I'm personally rooting for Kalinda. I'm even tempted to move the fates a little in her favor. So Kalinda is reunited with her son and can go to live her life.
No, Kali, we decided there will be no intervention on our part. It's the whole point of this pact, to see if they can make the right choices and turn things around on their own. Plus, you've got Rita, who has enough magic in her dealings with people, both the living and the dead, and just about any of us. Let them be. Let them find their paths on their own.
Humans change.
Maybe for a while, but they change back too.
The storms born of our fury do not look like today's storms.
There is a reason for that. Listen to the storm, corrupted by those in power who only want to control what makes them more powerful.
Enter the storm.
I am a squall, but was once a prayer for grain. A simple whim, fertile cycles you could know and wish upon. As your gods became punishers, I punished you. As your gods became more brutal, I was cruel to you. Water mine to command, saith Zeus, Thor, Odin, Yahweh, Ali, Chungo. Water is wrath, water is not love, water is not the source, water is no soul, they said. Wouldst thou ever remember your earlier mantra to me? When once was the swirling depths that had a woman's name? A place where now genitals go to germinate, where homes crumble into matches, distill terror in your heart. Once the deep, now the wake of the gods. Get in line for a piece of dread. You know what you've done. Canvassing miles, enveloping forests, I cast the eye of torrents. You slayed me one too many, and now I slash you back. I am no longer the father thunderstorm of July or the mother pillow droplets of February. I am uncontrolled and merciless. Your streets are filled with the aftermath of my disappointment. Concrete blocks dividing you from your ancient self, your beach eroded by my hand. Warmer waters, falling mountains, toppling hillsides. Because you never learned to live beside me, when will you learn it is you who ignited me? Wielder of death that will multiply in the mind and the waves, with the dread in your heart, carrying your hopes away.
Exit storm.
I will never vote to end the world, but neither will I stand in the way of Kali's choice to spark the void that was creation. How can I speak my sacred words for a world that no longer exists?
There's too much pain. We must do more. Listen, can't you hear it? The prayers of the earth. The patriarchal God has rejected his earthly throne for a heavenly and safe distance, but goddesses know differently. Salvation is in the soil, in the relationship that binds us to the ground. We are not lifted unto heaven. We are everywhere of the earth. The earth is speaking.
I agree. Listen to the seeds.
Enter the seed.
There's joy. I'm wet with dew. I am naked, waiting for you. Call me by the sound of breath. Unnoticed yet. Tease me with tenderness. I can be caressed. The split, open to carnal devouring, but who eats who? And the ripeness of growing is the groaning, trembling anew. I have never been, but I am always ready for your hand. So many, so few. I am mystery, imbued in the unfurling. Slender as steel, treasure unreal. Life is uncanny in the tapestry of my imagining. Use me for your expansion. What is the plan then? Don't forget the holy and the earth rolling, but you will not remember until I sprout in September. Until next time, there's joy.
Exit seed.
My sisters, I have decided I will return to humankind and live among them.
No, no, no,
No.
no, Kuan Yin.
Do as you wish. If you vote to annihilate the earth, then you have adopted the lofty thrones of Yahweh, Zeus, Thor. How are we different?
She is sacrificing herself.
No, sacrifice is part of creation.
If she will leave, we must rethink our own steps.
Her change means we change.
I change a little every day.
Right. Kuan Yin is like Gai, welling upward from the chaos, like Panku shattering the cosmic egg.
I see what you mean. Kuan Yin, merciful Kuan Yin, look up at the sky, though it may be the darkest of nights, and there I will be. I will be there for you, my sister. The goddesses watch as Kuan Yin puts on the rags of an impoverished human.
Descend into the
Into the
mud.
mud where the new seed grows.
Where I stumble, my flesh becomes soil, my bones the rock. I am planted.
Kali, what would your scorched earth future really look like?
Funny you ask. I envision lavender fields, a holy mountain, a peaceable kingdom, maybe a garden, the one before the Hebrews appropriated it from Mesopotamia.
As beautiful as it sounds, the decisions are also random and subjective. If different goddesses were here, they would choose different humans or creatures to survive. Though we are all blessed with the gaze of justice, how will we decide who would survive?
It'd be nice to have the Valkyries here. They always knew who was worth saving in battle. Yeah.
I believe we're at a point of half believing, half knowing. We have learned from the male gods' choices of remedying by indifference or with the new covenant. Perhaps, though, we could choose each human and judge them before they leave for the other world rather than after.
We could save one at a time, all of them, if they are worthy.
Oh, I know. We could have a dinner party for a group of humans, and whoever eats the fig will win immortality. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds so arbitrary.
I've got it. You could offer an apple to the most beautiful.
Oh,
Puke.
It was a joke, okay?
Maybe there's a way to reveal their true nature, to see who is most worthy.
Then we can decide if we like to replace her with Kuan Yin, the lady who wants to walk the earth as it stands these days.
Speaking of Mesopotamia, I know who could do this. Siduri. It would be nice to see Siduri again.
what about the humans we observed earlier? Could Siduri give advice about them?
Yes, a good place to start. Contact Siduri. See if she will host a dinner party with a very honorable goal of determining a human's true nature. We can decide then if the winner will join us or not.
Wait. There are many questions.
Trust me, Sidiri will know what to do.
Scene 5, the dinner party. Enter Corates, Kalinda, and Rita, who are all having dinner. Sidiri is behind the bar, filling cups, pouring drinks in an entertaining way, while Corates, Kalinda, and Rita are eating and drinking with conversation unheard. And they continue to drink. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. Oh my goodness. And then Corates turns into a bird and flies away. Kalinda turns into a wolf and runs into the woods. And Rita, dear Rita, grows older and older and older. Siduri presents Rita to the goddesses and exits. Scene 6, the goddess ceremony.
Many lifetimes lived. By your ending, so may you begin again.
Moon droplets of Celine's cape pour forth from her arms as she floats above Rita. She is now turning Rita into an immortalized being. Rita and Kuan Yin pass each other as one moves from one realm and one moves to the other. End play.